you to speak twice. I'm just going to kick myself if I don't ask this question. So following on from Councillor John Watson's really good line of questioning, I have to flag a concern, and as the discussion kind of goes back to parks, I wonder whether we need to have another look at this bit of policy, which is that, and it's going to paragraph 17, existing urban areas, more focus on developing existing parks, etc. Because as we unfold a greater understanding of where density will occur and redevelopment will occur, it is absolutely clear that urban amenity has to follow urban development. And once we land the unitary plan, which hopefully will be shortly, we'll have a very clear understanding of exactly where this growth is expected. And I would like to see the Parks Committee grapple with the reality of the sort of policy that they've come up with, which is we may have to vary some of that. We may have to look at, in the LTP, the implications of that, and we may have to look at how we deal with some of that through developer contributions. I don't know if we need to signal that now or make any change now, but I don't think we've kind of got it right with our parks strategy around that. So, Madam Chair, it doesn't need to be dealt with now, but somewhere I think we do need to deal with this, because if we are having large changes to the urban landscape, we simply have to deal with a responsive park strategy that picks that up.
Okay. You, Councillor Cooper.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I mean, we talk about stormwater acquisitions and things like that, but and transport. But would this also deal with the issue of when NZTA acquire parkland, that money from those sales go back to maybe that area or not, depends, but actually to growth areas, because that's happening as well, and we're going to see it happening even more so, especially if we actually get a busway in the northwest, and we've already had some parkland taken by NZTA, and the money was going to go into the pot, so hopefully it'll be into the big pot, but I think we need to maybe pull those sorts of issues in here as well, because it is all about growth and about needing land for parks and other amenities. We're just talking about, you know, our own.
So that's a broader issue.
Yeah.
And the contributions policy can't address that. Well, clearly it's a matter that
Okay,
has
it'll be
wider
dealt with.
ramifications and dealt with elsewhere.
Flag it. The other question, Madam Chair, is we're looking at adding an SHAs there, but I wouldn't want to see that as a blanket condition, because some of them are really small as well and actually may not require it, but it might mean then there's a pull to say, oh no, we've got to use that. We've got to have that in that area, and there might be 40 houses, 50 houses, but it doesn't actually warrant something new. But because of this, there's maybe the local board going, no, we've got to use it for there. So we need to be smart about it, and just, you know, it may include SHAs if it's relevant, if they're big enough and they're in a big growth area.
And that's absolutely right. So this gives us the flexibility to respond if necessary, and clearly if you're talking 40 houses, it wouldn't be necessary.
I want us to be flexible.
As you point out, so we agree with that.
Great, thank you.
That's right. Councillor Casey.
Yeah, we're approving the consultation procedure as well today. Can I just ask why you're recommending that staff hear the interested parties and councillors just appear to listen, or may attend if they wish? It says here. Why?
It's not a quasi-judicial
So I thought it was a straightforward approach to take.
But why staff and not councillors? That's a departure from the norm, isn't it?
Not in terms of the development contributions. So usually we'll get maybe a couple of questions from the Have Your Say events, but usually the majority of the responses for development contributions come from developers. So we set out about 400 requests for them to attend. We get their attention at an isolated event, so the only thing we usually discuss is development contributions. So this is just flowing on to what we normally do.
Oh, so they're not making presentations?
We usually just make a presentation on the variation of the development contribution policy to the developers. At any of the Have Your Say events, no, it's just part of one of the many documents that may or may not have a comment about.
So the meeting that you're proposing, an opportunity will be provided for interested parties to present their views in person, but they're presenting to staff,
Yes, yes.
Which is usually what happens.
and that's just normal.
It's developer contributions, yep.
And we can come along and listen,
Yes.
and that's fine, okay.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against, carried.